Hello everyone, so this past weekend I took part in a massive collaboration video that Star Wars Explained put together. It was the 20th anniversary of the Phantom Menace, and everybody talked about what their favorite part of the Phantom Menace was. And in my portion, I talked about the lightsaber duel between Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul, which got me thinking about what my favorite lightsaber duels are, period. So in today's video, I'm going to be ranking the Saga films based off of the lightsaber duels, and I'm doing it this way because the Saga films are what most fans are familiar with, and obviously there are no lightsaber duels in the standalone films. And to go through Clone Wars and Rebels would take forever, so it would just be easier to go through the Saga films. And I've seen those movies countless numbers of times, so I'm very familiar with the lightsaber duels. And I'm ranking the films and not the duels themselves because the prequels have multiple lightsaber fights in them, and they all share similar elements within them, so it just made sense to clump them together and do it that way. So going from the bottom up, my least favorite is Attack of the Clones. There's very little that I like about these duels. The choreography is definitely more flash over practicality, and the opponents just don't seem to be trying to strike each other. And then when it gets to the point of Dooku and Anakin fighting in the dark, it's just, I don't know what to say about this part of the duel. So then Anakin gets his arm cut off very easily, and then Yoda comes in, and I won't lie, I really liked this scene the very first time I saw it. I was very excited to see Yoda with the lightsaber for the very first time on screen, but the more I watch it, the more it loses its appeal. It's very obvious that the stuntman is fighting nothing. It doesn't seem to be very convincing at all anymore. That's why all these duels in this movie is at the bottom of my list. Next on my list, I'm probably gonna get destroyed for placing this so low, but it's A New Hope, the lightsaber duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. Now, I'm not denying that this moment isn't important for the film and the characters, but when I look back on A New Hope, the characters, the plot, even some of the visual effects withstand the test of time. This duel is probably the only thing out of this movie that just doesn't hold up for me. The choreography isn't the most exciting, and the cinematography is very basic. I think that this lightsaber duel is very much a product of its time. Alec Guinness was 63 when they shot this fight, so you're very limited on what he can do. So I think if you shoot this fight in today's standards with stuntmen and face replacement, you'll get something really close to what we got out of that fan remake that hit the internet a few weeks or months back. I don't exactly know when it hit the internet. But again, I think the reason it's so low on my list is just it's a product of its time, and it doesn't hold up quite as well as the rest of the film does. Next on my list are the lightsaber duels from Revenge of the Sith. Now, this movie improves upon some of the problems I had with Attack of the Clones. The lightsaber duel between Palpatine and Yoda definitely feels like he's fighting somebody, not just swinging at nothing. So in that aspect, they improved upon the lightsaber duels, but it also introduced some more problems that I have with it, and this is more apparent in the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan. For me, it's just the choreography just seems to be unrelenting, and there's just no rhythm to it. And in typical Lucas fashion, he wanted this fight to be faster and more intense. I always kind of compare it to like listening to music, and if you were to listen to a song that's like the choreography of this fight, it's be like a song that has no like variation to it. It's just constant go 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 go. And again, this is another fight scene that I was really like, oh, this is so cool when the first time I saw it, but the more I watch it, the less effective it is because of the lack of variety in the choreography. When it finally gets to the climax of the fight, and the ending is just so like abrupt with the Anakin, I have the higher ground. Getting to that moment, had they would just been a little bit more variety and showing me that Anakin has the upper hand on this, and he gets overconfident in his abilities, and you're sort of like just worried for Obi-Wan because you don't think he's going to beat him, and then he finds a way to overcome this and beat Anakin in this moment. I think that would have been a bit more restrained, but the fact that this whole fight is just constant go 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 go, that's why it's so low on the list for me. So moving on from my list, I have the lightsaber duel from Return of the Jedi. Now, what I love about this duel is that it's less about the fight itself and more about Luke's potential fall to the dark side and him trying to bring back his father from the light, all while Emperor Palpatine taunts him from the sidelines. And one thing that I really like about this lightsaber duel, it shows Luke's progression from Empire Strikes Back. He seems more confident in his abilities, even going as far as deactivating his lightsaber in the middle of the fight. It just shows how far he's come from being defeated by Vader to this moment. But then, of course, later on, Luke briefly gives into his anger, defeating Vader. Then he's finally being confronted with the decision of, do I turn to the dark side? Which of course he doesn't, and in true Jedi fashion, he tosses his lightsaber aside. But my only issue with this lightsaber fight is that it's far too short. Like all the lightsaber duels in all the movies, they're intercut with other scenes, and you only cut back to this fight maybe twice, and when you combine all the screen time, it's very short-lived. I just wanted more of it, so that's my only issue with it. But when I take into account the weight behind this scene, that's why I rank it higher than some of the other lightsaber duels that I mentioned previously on my list. Moving right along, next on my list is The Last Jedi. Now, I know this isn't technically a lightsaber duel, but it is lightsabers versus other melee weapons, so I'm counting it on my list. And this is probably one of the best moments of the newer movies. I love the way the scene is shot with long, wide takes with our actual actors performing the choreography and not subbing them in for stunt people. But the further I examine this scene, the more issues I take with it is the choreography. It feels a lot like old kung fu movies when guys are moving around in the background waiting for their turn to strike. And when it is their turn to strike, it's a lot of just twirl my weapon and do a simple strike, then back off. Twirl my weapon, strike simply, and then back off. And that's kind of the through line of the entire fight to me. And it's kind of understandably so. I mean, I heard somewhere that it was hard for the stunt people to see out of their helmets. And they're also going up against two actors and people that haven't trained their whole lives for a fight like this. I mean, they do very well in their own respects because they're actors. But again, their goal in this movie isn't to be the best fighter, it's to convey the emotions of the characters and bring the characters to life. Sure, the part of their character is wielding a lightsaber, but they're going up against people that have trained for things like this their entire lives, and they do very well again in this scene, but they only train for this for like months at a time. But like the Return of the Jedi, it's the weight of the scene that elevates the fight for me. I just wish that the choreography itself can meet the level of the cinematography and the writing for this scene. Next on my list is The Force Awakens. I love how grounded the choreography in this fight feels. It doesn't seem to be anything in this fight be put in just to look cool. And contrary to what most everybody is saying, is Kylo Ren has the upper hand in this fight. Sure, Finn is able to get a lucky strike on his shoulder, but he quickly disarms him and takes him out of the fight. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention my favorite moment in this entire movie, when Rey is able to pull the lightsaber out of the snow with the Force. I remember audibly cheering when this moment happened the first time I saw this in the theater. Such a great moment for the movie and the character. The biggest criticism I hear about this fight scene is that people just don't understand how Rey is able to defeat Kylo Ren. I mean, you have to look at the circumstances leading into this fight. First off, Kylo Ren is injured. He got shot by Chewie's bowcaster. And aside from also being physically wounded, he's emotionally torn after killing his father, which is confirmed by Snoke in The Last Jedi. So when you take those factors into consideration, he's not at the top of his game, but even so, he's still in complete control of the fight. It's not until Rey closes her eyes and lets the Force guide her is when she's able to take the upper hand. I don't care what people say about this fight. I know people have issues with Rey beating Ren. I love this fight scene. I love the choreography, and I love the emotional weight behind it. It's so good. And it can only be topped by my next two lightsaber fights. Number 2 on my list comes from The Phantom Menace. This is my favorite lightsaber duel of the prequel trilogy. It's the first time we see lightsabers used to this precision on the big screen, and we've yet to see a weapon as cool as Darth Maul's dual-bladed lightsaber. The choreography they're able to pull off with Maul's double-bladed lightsaber is just phenomenal. It's not like the continuous striking that we see in Revenge of the Sith. The characters are pausing and taking moments to evaluate their opponents. There's a quick moment where Obi-Wan fakes and Qui-Gon comes in. It's just smaller moments like that that I feel that gives this fight variety. And like I mentioned in a couple other fight scenes before, I love that this fight scene was captured in long, wide takes, especially in Obi-Wan and Darth Maul's fight. But one of my major takeaways from this fight is that you see the difference in characters when they're separated by the force fields leading into the generator room on Naboo. You see the eagerness of Obi-Wan as he pumps himself up before he fights Maul. You see how patient Qui-Gon Jinn is when he meditates, waiting for his turn. And having Maul pace back and forth like a caged animal is just so perfect in showing the cockiness of his character when he waits for both Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. And I love this little taunt that he throws Obi-Wan in their fight after his little little 540 twirl, whatever the hell you call it. It's so perfect to the character and just showing how cocky he is. My only issue with this fight is how it ends, with Obi-Wan flipping over Maul and slicing him in half. It seems so lazy, like they couldn't think of any other way to end this because Maul is such an imposing figure. But aside from how it ends, it is an epic lightsaber duel. It can only be outdone, in my opinion, by my favorite lightsaber duel, which is Luke versus Darth Vader in The Empire Strikes Back. Sure, the choreography isn't as exciting or as flashy as some of the other lightsaber duels, but the reason it's my favorite is, one, the narrative and emotional weight that this fight has on the movie, and two, this duel builds like a crescendo to one of, if not the most shocking moment in cinematic history.
No, I am your father.
This duel is basically broken up into 3 parts. At first, Luke and Vader are like feeling each other out, and Vader is going a little easy on him, almost underestimating Luke. Then in the next stage, Vader just straight up toys with Luke, throwing objects at him with the Force. And in the third stage, he finally has had enough and he just goes berserk on him. Luke manages to nick Vader in the shoulder, but does nothing but piss him off, and we all know how that ends up. And it's not just the reveal of Vader being Luke's father that makes this duel important. It's the fact that it's an ill-prepared Luke Skywalker going against the baddest dude in the galaxy. And also at this point in the story, the audience is made to believe that it's Luke going up against the person that killed his father. So already he's going in with this gigantic weight on his shoulders, even before he clashes lightsabers with Vader. So when you combine all of that with the fact that I don't see any flaws in this scene, there's no excuse for me not to put it at the top. This is my favorite lightsaber duel out of all the movies. Because unlike some of the other lightsaber duels, the more I watch this, the better it gets with each repeat viewing. So there's no doubt in my mind that it's my favorite lightsaber duel out of all of them. So that's how I rank the Saga films according to their lightsaber duels. Your list will most likely be different. Some people think the Revenge of the Sith is the best one. Others think the Last Jedi has the best one. And if that's the case with you, you're not wrong for thinking that. That just means we have different tastes. So let me know what your list looks like in the comment section below. Let me know how wrong I am. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and share it, and consider following me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, as I'm going to be talking anything and everything Star Wars, and I'd love for you to stay up to date on all those videos. Thanks as always for watching, and may the Force be with you.